Ollie, what's gone wrong in the last 5 weeks?
I think it's pretty easy to say you have to start with the defensive structure. I mean, the number of goals we've conceded as of late is not acceptable by our standards, and we're a team that creates plenty of chances throughout the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the first game we haven't scored this season. So there's always been, we've always been comfortable on the ball and created plenty of opportunities for ourselves, but in the last month or so we've let ourselves down defensively.
How do you fix that ahead of, I guess you can still lose, but ideally you can secure playoffs if you win or draw, so how can you fix that defence in the field?
Well, there's two sides to defending. There's obviously just the attitude and the desperation and the application of just your own personal standard, I guess, and then there's the application of the game plan and the way we want to defend and the way we want to defend together, and that's probably been the more disappointing thing. I don't think any players out there not giving 100%, but I think the way we've applied the game plan has not been effective, and we haven't stuck to what the boss is the information the boss is giving us, and I think that was quite evident on the weekend where we had players stepping in, following, and others not covering and all sorts, and it was a mix of things, and it wasn't quite cohesive. So that's probably the two aspects you focus on.
How much soul searching's been done this week, or as a team, how do you sort of address that? You know, you must realise your season's in the balance, so things do need to sort of improve. It's
funny, I mean, it's one game of football, so you can't really just get carried away and start thinking that, you need to go soul searching and you need to change this and that and everything. We've been there or thereabouts for most of the season, and I think the last 4 weeks have probably just highlighted a couple of things that needed to be touched up on. So those are the things we'll look to clarify and clean up, but I don't think there's a whole lot of soul searching needed. I mean, we've taken points off all of the top six, and we know we're still a good team, and we know we're still capable, and that belief's still there. It's just executing it this weekend, and obviously there's added pressure, but everybody loves to play in those games. As we say in our group, pressure's a privilege because you've earned the right to be the one that's shouldering that burden. So there wasn't a whole lot of soul searching as such, more just getting back to what we're good at, understanding that we have 25 plus staff people relying on each other, and it doesn't require individuals to win this game. We can just carry on the way that we know we can head, and we just need to get back on track. Yeah,
obviously, you and a few players are leaving, Offie's leaving as well. Is everyone still buying into the coach's message? Because you say the team sort of strayed away from the game plan. I mean, is it because people are leaving and the coach is leaving that people have switched off? Or
no, I don't think it's a case of that at all. Even if you're I know this question's popped up every time I've done media since the announcement, and I understand that, but I think even if we weren't interested in what became of the Phoenix this season, we still have our own individual standards and individual aspirations. So even if I was not to care how the Phoenix did for the rest of time, I'd still be representing myself. So there's never been a case of that, and not going out there and not executing the game plan is not us not listening to what Offie's doing. It's just a case of, I guess, pressure getting the better of people and making the wrong decisions in the moment. So we're all still well and truly buying into what Offie's doing. I mean, it's what's set the platform for the last 4 years and allowed us to achieve what we have achieved. And we've still won 8 games of football this year and played some fantastic football at times, and that's because of the messages that Offie's given us. So it's not a case of people not buying into it, it's just the execution that's been left lacking.
Yeah, and how's the morale in the squad? When you have gone 5 games unbeaten, it's unfamiliar territory. It's only been once in Offie's tenure. And I guess, too, when you are critical about aspects of the game, is the team still, confident? I mean, what's the mood like in the squad?
Look, if we're being honest, you can't lie and say that the mood's great. We haven't won in 5 or 6 weeks or whatever it is, so you can't hide behind the fact that we're not exactly full of confidence. But like I said, we've played some great football this year, and we know what we're capable of, and we're well aware of the scenario and what's required. And we've been very fortunate that the last month or so results have also gone our way. So we know there's someone smiling down on us, looking and helping us out. So we can take a little bit of confidence from that. But the other thing we can take confidence from is we've got 24 fantastic players, and we've got depth within the squad and got options. So any given player could do it come Saturday, and that gives us a lot of confidence. You know, we got a guy that's scoring plenty of goals up front. You know, we got midfielders scoring goals. We got some brilliant defenders, and all of that's just got to click and come together. So, although the confidence from our latest results aren't there, the confidence within the group is still there.
And by Saturday, it'll be 15 consecutive weeks you've spent in the top six. If you don't make the top six from here, I mean, how much of a failure would that be? Oh,
it's huge. There's no hiding from that. I think, well, I can't speak for everyone else, but I was pretty open earlier this year in the media about the fact that we should be a top 14, and that still hurts. I'm still disappointed with that. That in my eyes, that's still a failure that we haven't achieved that and attained that top 4 status. But if we were to miss out this weekend, it would be extremely disappointing, and no doubt that we'd have to reflect on that and take the criticism that comes, because for us, like I said, we've taken points off all of the top 6 teams, so we should definitely be up there, and there's plenty to play for and plenty to achieve left in the final series.
Yeah, and can I just ask too, because post-match you made just a comment around Wanderers and how they sort of get up with Ruden's coaching. Some fans took that as being in contrast to the Phoenix, I guess, just in the wake of that performance. But do you still think that Uffy can motivate this team and get the best out of them?
Absolutely. That comment wasn't made in contrast. That was just a comment in regards to how dangerous the Wanderers are playing at home in front of their fans, who I think Ruden's a perfect fit for. And that had nothing to do with how I think about Uffy's skill to motivate the team. Uffy's skill is no doubt the way he tactically prepares the team, but that doesn't mean he has any shortcomings in terms of the way he motivates the team.
I hear the frustration and emotion in your voice. Is part of that because, any of these games could be your last for the Phoenix and you want to go out on your own terms?
Of course. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to achieve something before I left. My motto has always been to leave the jersey in a better place than when I got it. And that, I think my body language probably on the field over the last few weeks has stemmed from that frustration that you talk about. I have, like I just touched on, even if I didn't care about the results, I have my own personal ambitions, and they sit very highly alongside what I want this team to achieve. And I think we should be, playing semi-final football, playing at home, and I'm hoping that that semi-final is my last home game before we set sail for the final over in Sydney. So that's the way I look at things. And at the end of the day, I'll be disappointed if we don't achieve that, because I know the group that we have and I know the ambition that I have. But that's where I'm setting my target.
Was there a real fear you wouldn't make the playoffs?
I don't think that ever really crossed anyone's mind, because I don't think anyone envisioned us not winning for the last 4 or 5 weeks. That never crossed our mind. Every game we felt confident going into, and we've been, like I said, we have been fortunate. There's no hiding from the fact that we've been fortunate with the results going our way over the last month, but that's never really crossed our minds. So I think this week, you can dress it down all you want. There is pressure of having to win this weekend and having to make the finals, and if you don't win, there's a risk that you don't make the finals. So you can talk it down all you want, but there's pressure there, and that's something that we have to relish and enjoy and embrace.
So how do you navigate that pressure then? Because this is a big game. Oli Sail is someone who plays for someone that knows you guys as well. I mean, how do you navigate this game and the pressure that comes with it?
Well, we've got boys that have had all these sorts of experiences before. For me, someone that should be leading from the front and will be leading from the front this week is Costa. Whether that's in a starting role or off the bench or whatever that may be, we'll be tapping his mind this week. He's won 4 championships. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's anyone in the league that's won more. So that's the kind of player that you lean on this week. You've got Scotty Wooten, David Ball. Those guys have played in promotion relegation games worth millions and millions of dollars. So there's plenty of experience in this department in our squad. And in fairness, we've been in this position, 3 out of the last 4 seasons, like it or not. We've been here, so it's not the first time for many of us as well. So, like I said, pressure's a privilege, and those are the games you want to play in as a pro. They're the best. They're the ones that you get to have a hero moment or whatever it is that you get to celebrate together at the end. So these are the games you live for.
So considering the negative results that you've had, does a big win this weekend change or recondition your playoffs run, do you think?
Absolutely. Like I've touched on, every team in that top 6 we've taken points off home or away at some stage during this season, so they all know what we're capable of. Yeah, they'll be looking at our form and probably considering us the most comfortable playoff game, but the type of football that we play earns respect from opponents. You know, when I look at the likes of Adelaide and Central Coast and the amount of goals that they're scoring and conceding, they set up very open styles of play. But when we play them, they often tend to show us a little bit more respect and sit off. So that shows you what other teams think of us and the way we can perform. So a result this weekend is obviously massive to earn us the right to play in the finals, but it's also, you know, the positive swing that we need to tee us up for a good finals run.
If I can just pivot to All Whites, you've got a few games coming up. It's a positive thing for you, I guess. But how much of a frustration is it not having a coach, full-time coach in just yet? Yeah,
those games are something that we're really looking forward to. You know, it's a big game in June in Sweden. That's a fantastic opposition at an amazing stadium. But yeah, look, at not having a coach appointed by this stage has been frustrating. We would have expected it to have been done by now. I think the last time we had a coach appointed was September. But no doubt New Zealand football are going through their due process and figuring out the best options. So I'm not sure when they're intending to make an announcement, but we as a playing group are just looking forward to those next friendlies. So I guess it's not really our concern as of this stage.
Can I just ask you, obviously a draw would secure top 6. How would you like the team to approach the game against Macarthur? Are you going there to win, going there to just grind out that point?
No, look, I don't think we'll be approaching for the draw. Throughout different moments in the game, that'll obviously be considered, should we take an early lead or something like that. And at the end of the day, we will settle for a point because that'll get us to the finals. But like I said, I think the performance is also important to how we go in the rest of the playoff series. So it's an aspect of our game which we haven't used a whole lot this season. We've probably only seen it on 2 or 3 occasions. I think back to the 2 Sydney FC victories we had where we've kind of shut up shop, and potentially Brisbane Roar away as well. So we haven't done it a whole lot this season. So whether we use it this weekend to prepare ourselves for deep in finals games, or if it's necessary this weekend to get that point, then it'll be applied. But I think a real positive statement from us is important this weekend as well.
Yeah, you haven't heard from Glenn Moss this week?
I haven't spoken to Mossy this week. Speak to him a lot, to be fair. Obviously, a little bit of a different scenario for them with their season being finished. So it would have been quite interesting had they have won last weekend to be teeing this one up. I'm sure there would have been a bit of banter flying back and forth. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing him, and I'll probably have a coffee with him on game day or something. So